When we last left the Polish Second Corps, they had just arrived in Italy. Among them was Private Wojtek, officially enlisted to bypass a British regulation. But the time for paperwork games was over. The most brutal test of his military career and the Polish army's endurance was about to begin. The date was May 1944. The place was the Battle of Monte Cassino. This was not a battle, it was a grinder. The Germans held the high ground, a massive mountain fortress topped by a historic monastery. For 5 long months, the Allies had been thrown back repeatedly. The jagged, rocky slopes and sheer cliffs made supplying the frontline troops nearly impossible. Heavy artillery shells, the lifeblood of the offensive, had to be hauled up treacherous trails under constant enemy fire. The Polish Second Corps was assigned the decisive final assault. The cost was certain to be immense. But if they could break the German grip on the mountain, the road to Rome would be open. This was their last chance to prove themselves to the world, and, more importantly, to themselves. The 22nd Artillery Supply Company was tasked with keeping the cannons fed. Their trucks could only make it so far. From the valley floor, the crates of 25-pound shells, each box weighing hundreds of pounds, had to be moved by hand, mule, and sheer willpower up the narrow, twisting mountain paths. The men were exhausted before the fighting even began. And then, in the midst of this back-breaking, demoralizing struggle, the joyful warrior showed them why he was truly a soldier. The artillery barrage was deafening. Shells screamed overhead, and the air was thick with smoke and dust. The Polish supply line was dangerously slow. Every soldier available was diverted to carrying ammunition, fighting through fatigue and the choking dust of the mountain. It was amidst this chaos that Wojtek made his move. He watched the men around him, mimicking their actions as he always did. He saw them strain under the weight of the massive wooden crates. Then he simply walked over to a stack of untouched artillery crates. Private Wojtek stood up on his powerful hind legs. A soldier, noticing the bear standing at attention, instinctively placed a heavy wooden crate of shells into his massive paws. Wojtek took the load, a burden far too heavy for a single man, and, using his natural strength and incredible balance, carried it uphill. He didn't drop it. He didn't complain. He just walked. He had observed the ritual of the soldier, the duty to move the essential payload, and he joined it without prompting. For hours, as the men struggled and gasped, Wojtek moved among them, carrying the vital crates. He would deliver the ammunition, place the empty crate down, and walk back down the hill for the next load. His presence wasn't just physical help, it was an electric current of morale. If the bear could do it, no man had an excuse to stop. He was fast, efficient, and reliable, a perfect artillery supply specialist. Wojtek had transformed from a cherished mascot into an indispensable comrade, the most famous logistical asset of the entire battle. The Polish offensive succeeded. Monte Cassino was finally captured by the Polish Second Corps, a hard-won victory that cost thousands of lives. In the aftermath, the stories of Private Wojtek's service spread like wildfire throughout the Allied lines. British commanders, generals, and war correspondents all came to see the magnificent bear who carried shells under fire. His bravery and loyalty could not go unrecognized. In a formal ceremony, Private Wojtek was promoted. He was no longer a private. He was now Corporal Wojtek. His contribution was honored in the highest possible way. The 22nd Artillery Supply Company officially changed its insignia. Their new emblem was the silhouette of a brown bear holding an enormous artillery shell. This was more than just a badge. It was a permanent tribute to a brotherhood forged in the fires of war. Wojtek, the exiled orphan, had given his Polish family a symbol of their incredible resilience. He traveled with the unit through the rest of the campaign, moving from Italy to the liberation of Bologna. He was not only a symbol of Polish valor, but a symbol of the unique spirit of the Allied forces, a world where a bear could earn rank and wear an insignia just like any man. The war finally ended in 1945. The Polish Second Corps had achieved their goal, but victory brought them no peace. Their home country, Poland, was now under Soviet control. They were an army of free men who could not return home without facing immediate persecution. Instead, the entire unit, soldiers, families, and Corporal Wojtek, were shipped to Scotland for demobilization. Wojtek was billeted in the quiet village of Hutton, where he quickly became a local celebrity. The Scottish public, who had never encountered a 6-foot-tall bear drinking beer, welcomed him and the Polish exiles with open arms. But the time for the 22nd Company was sealed. The army was being dissolved, and for a bear who was officially on active duty, demobilization meant a devastating farewell. The soldiers wrestled with their heartbreaking duty. They could not abandon him, but they could also not keep a full-grown Syrian brown bear on civilian rations in Scotland. With immense sadness, they arranged for Corporal Wojtek to be honorably discharged and retired to the Edinburgh Zoo. The day they took Wojtek to the zoo was a quiet, crushing occasion. The men knew they were saying goodbye to their last tangible link to their life in the army. Yet their loyalty never faded. For the rest of Wojtek's life, his former comrades would come to visit him. They would call out his Polish name, Wojtek, and the massive bear, hearing the familiar language of his family, would sit up, stand to attention, and salute his friends one last time. Corporal Wojtek died in 1963. But his story, the orphaned cub who gave his heart to a lost army, lives on. It is a timeless testament to resilience, friendship, and the truth that in times of desperation, family can be found anywhere, even in the form of a 6-foot-tall, artillery-carrying, joyful warrior.